When it comes to Henry VIII, many think of the tragic stories of each of his wives. Others will think of the formation of the Church of England. But today, we visit the belly of the beast and uncover how Henry VIII went from the strapping 18-year-old, 6 foot 2 inches, handsomest prince in Christendom, to an immobile, impotent, and obese 50-year-old king. We reveal Henry VIII's indulgent and shocking diet, and how this led to many of his health complications. If you enjoy the video, please take a moment to comment, like, and subscribe, as this helps grow our channel and reach more viewers. With that said, let's begin. Eating in Tudor England was a visible map of the social hierarchy. What you put in your mouth, and how much of it, was the ultimate indicator of your degree or class. For the Tudor poor, the laborers, farmers, and servants who made up the vast majority of the population, eating was a repetitive, functional, and deeply seasonal experience. Their diet was dictated by the soil and the sun, rather than by fashion or whim. The cornerstone of almost every meal was pottage. This was a thick, slow-cooked porridge or stew kept in a pot over the hearth. It was made by boiling whatever was available: oats, barley, or rye to provide bulk, mixed with pot herbs like onions, leeks, cabbage, and garlic from their small garden plots. If a family was lucky, they might have a bit of bacon or a scrap of salted pork to toss in for flavor. But for most, it was a purely vegetarian dish. The poor's diet shifted dramatically with the calendar. In summer and autumn, this was the time of relative plenty, with fresh peas, beans, and wild berries. Winter was a struggle for survival. The diet narrowed down to dried grains, stored onions, and salted herrings. On fast days, by law, everyone had to eat fish instead of meat. For the poor, this usually meant salt fish, which had to be soaked for hours to make it even remotely edible. The royal court's diet, however, was about theater, power, and overwhelming excess. To eat at the king's table was to witness a culinary arms race where food was used to intimidate foreign ambassadors and display Henry VIII's absolute dominion over nature. The kitchens at Hampton Court were a massive industrial machine designed to feed upwards of 600 to 1,000 people twice a day. There were 18 massive kitchens with roaring open fires. The heat was so intense that spitjacks had to turn the roasting meat behind wet cloth screens to keep their skin from blistering. In a single year, the court consumed approximately 1,200 oxen, 8,000 sheep, 2,000 deer, and 50,000 birds. A royal banquet was a dizzying parade of protein. While the poor ate pottage, the king's table saw exotic birds. It wasn't enough to eat chicken. The king ate swan, peacock, served with its feathers reattached for drama, heron, and seagull. Whole wild boars and venison from the king's private hunting forests were the centerpieces. On fasting days, the court ate salmon, sturgeon, porpoise, and even whale meat. Only the highest-ranking nobles were allowed the finest white wheat bread. The crumbs were so valuable that servants often stole them to sell. Henry VIII's diet was essentially a king-sized buffet of protein and sugar that reached nearly 5,000 calories a day. Henry usually ate 2 large meals, dinner at 11 a.m. and supper at 5 p.m. He was offered around 13 dishes per meal, from which he would pick and choose. Henry ate massive amounts of meat and fine white bread. Often, food was served on trenchers, thick slabs of stale bread that acted as edible plates, soaking up the juices from the meat. Henry didn't drink water, which was considered unsafe. He drank about 70 pints of ale and wine a week. He had a dangerously sweet tooth and gorged on marzipan, custards, and fritters. Ironically, Henry suffered from malnutrition despite eating like a king. Vegetables were seen as food for the poor, and while his gardens at Hampton Court grew cucumbers and radishes, Henry rarely ate them raw, believing they caused ill humors. The combination of heavy red meat and constant alcohol led to agonizing gout, making the king's later years a misery of joint pain. Henry's teeth were often described as black stumps due to his sugar obsession, and his breath was famously foul due to tooth decay. The lack of vegetables also led to chronic constipation and scurvy. By the time Henry VIII died, his weight was estimated to be around 400 pounds, with a waist of 54 inches and a morbidly obese BMI of 50.